Today we'll analyze the Compi coin. And now I really want to draw your attention to the price dynamics of this coin. First, I used a simple trend line connecting these two highs, right? So I chose to use this specific high because there was absolutely no breakout above it yet, right? And we can clearly see that the trend line was eventually broken. After that breakout, it actually returned to act as a very clean level of support, where the price successfully formed a solid bottom. At this point, we saw a fairly large and significant volume of buyers stepping into the market. But following that initial surge, the price simply traded sideways from February until April. Yeah, for literally 2 full months, we just moved back and forth within a very tight range and nothing much was happening. But right here, we can clearly see there was a very high amount of trading volume, and the price action finally broke out of this consolidation range. Next, what is interesting to note, if we take a closer look at the moving averages, specifically the weighted moving average and the EMA, we can see that right here, the weighted average acted as a strong level of resistance before it was finally broken. And if we zoom in even further on the chart, you can see quite clearly that the EMA was also broken through, meaning there was specifically a daily close above it. In turn, this significantly boosts the likelihood that the market trend is undergoing a shift, right? So from a bearish phase, the coin is gradually transitioning into a more bullish phase. What else is interesting? If we open mTracer and look at the withdrawal of funds from exchanges, right, we see an interesting dynamic. It would seem so, right? Right at this point, there was a significant withdrawal, and let's see exactly how much. The withdrawal was 526,000 coins, right? But almost immediately after that, literally the very next week, we saw a massive volume of these digital assets come in, or rather leave the exchanges. So yeah, coins were entering here, which is typically a strong indicator that investors are looking to sell. In this case, 526,000 entered, but here 585,000 COMP already left. Accordingly, there ended up being more active buyers, specifically those who chose to hold the coin for the long term. So this was a key turning point like that. After this, we see trading volumes are not quite as substantial. But this spike is exactly what I carefully monitor and analyze, these kinds of extraordinary movements when something highly unusual or unexpected occurs. And that is exactly how you should interpret and understand on-chain analytics, along with, of course, standard technical analysis. And it's very interesting here. What I noticed and wanted to share with you is precisely that they first brought it in and then very quickly withdrew it, and more than they brought in at that. Now let us take a closer look back at the chart. And here, I think, considering this entire structure, the fact that we broke out of the range and crossed the moving averages, an upward movement is highly probable in the near future. And this movement could actually be exceptionally substantial and impactful. If we look from the current levels, I am personally anticipating a potential 80 to 90% growth. Why is that? Because I typically use Fibonacci retracement levels to get a better sense of the potential targets. And these Fibonacci coincidences, they are essentially clusters, which is exactly how we should refer to them. They give an understanding of where the price might roughly go. As a result, we could see an 80% growth rate. It is possible that the current range trading could continue for some time, but looking at the long term, I believe that within a month or perhaps two, Comp has the potential to show growth of 80% or more.